everyone? Darkscream217 here, and some of my fans requested that I bring back this old, aggressive persona that I had when I do some of my reviews. However, the one tiny little gimmick that I use with them, my old pair of shades, well, they broke a couple months ago, and so far I haven't found a pair to replace them. However, I will still be bringing it back because I found a good temporary substitute that I will wear for this review until I find a better pair later on. So, just a mic, this, okay, make sure it stays tight, and so, back in 2010, a couple years ago, I saw this anime right here, Bamboo Blade, different DVD case, 13 episodes, and it was $60, and I thought, will she... That was overpriced and probably not worth my time and money, just another Moe Blob piece of garbage that keeps coming out all the time. Well, after checking out the anime online on Hulu, watching a couple episodes dubbed, I was actually kind of wrong for thinking about that. And then I finally got around to buying this DVD right here at a cheaper price for the entire 26 episode series. And my final verdict? I love this anime, okay? I freaking love it as much as Azumanga Daioh, and that is definitely one of my top favorites, man. This show, man. This show. Well, I actually have to review it to explain why I love it so much. Bamboo Blade is a 2007 kendo drama comedy slice-of-life anime series created by Studio AIC and was licensed by Funimation and released around 2010. The anime focuses on an extracurricular kendo club at Moroi High School, in which their club instructor, Taraji Ishida, also known as Kojiro, made a bet with his friend and former high school senpai, Kenzaburo Ishibashi, that if Kojiro's all-girls kendo team can beat Kenzaburo's team from Makido High, he is treated to a year's supply of sushi. That plot actually lasts 7 episodes out of the 26 episodes of the entire series. However, after that arc, the rest of the show focuses on a bigger story in which if Kojiro can increase the morale of the kendo team and turn them into a strong, competitive champions, he won't be unemployed within the next year. See, his job at Moroi High is at stake due to an unfortunate incident with the chairman's wife's neighbor and friend. Yeah, horrible luck. Since this anime has more of an ensemble cast as opposed to having a direct main protagonist, I'll be covering several characters. Unfortunately, as much as I want to talk about a lot of the characters, since most of them are well developed and interesting, it will take up more than enough time as it is, and I like to keep my reviews short and to the point. So I'm just going to stick with the main 5 female members of the kendo team and their instructor. Kojiro Ishida, the kendo club's instructor, was a skilled kendo practitioner himself and even managed to beat his high school senpai in the finals of a tournament, which earned him a trophy. He earns very small amounts of paychecks from his teaching job, his instructor job, as well as other jobs, and struggles to live off of it, something that could be relatable for some people in times like this. He was never really motivated to run his kendo club until he made that aforementioned wager, and while he was trying to build up a team for his selfish bet, he still cared about the club members very much and was always looking after their well-being. He does try his best to be a good instructor and motivator for the team, while making sure that the club is still fun for the members. However, he's really not that good of an instructor, and the other members turn to Kawazoe for some expert advice at one point as opposed to him, because Kawazoe schooled him immediately in one practice round. The first of the 5 members I'm going to cover is Kirino Chiba, club captain and the yellow member of the team. I'll explain why the members are color-based later. Anyways, Kirino is a second-year club member, always eager and energetic about the club and cares about it deeply, even designing unique badges for each member later in the series. Sometimes she'll also have a cat-like expression on her face, Now, her position in the kendo competitions is the second in command, which means she's actually the third person to compete during a kendo match. Her skills in comparison to the other club members ranks about average due to some of her experience in the club during her freshman year. She's a second year, and she does take some amount of wins in the series herself. Next member is Tamaki Kawazoe, the red member of the team. Despite her cute appearance, she is the team's general, which means she fights in the final matches. That's because she's the Kendo Club's most skilled member, due to the fact that she has been raised in the Kendo dojo herself and has developed skills from his father and deceased mother, as well as going against older male opponents. Tamaki happens to be an otaku who's big on a meta show for this series, a Super Sentai Tokusatsu show called Super Sword Squadron Blade Bravers, and she likes to model herself after Red Braver, fighting for the side of justice. Her beliefs of heroism are displayed in the second episode when she schools a bully with, okay, I don't want to give away too much, so I'm staying silent there. Anyway, that's also why the Kendo members are color-coded, because Kojiro wanted to excite Tamaki and motivate her to stay in the club if he gave members a Sentai-colored theme. She is also more of a quiet introvert type, but later in the show, she develops a strong bond with the other Kendo members. Did I mention this show has a lot of good character development? Well, it does! Miyako Miyazaki, or Mia for short. She is the pink member and is the position of second vanguard, second person in the competitions. Unfortunately, she is the least skilled member of the team, with a pretty big losing streak. The reason why she joined the club in the first place is because her boyfriend, Danjiro Eiga, or Donnie as he's nicknamed, was joining the club, and he brought her girlfriend to join with him so she could spend more time with him. She is madly in love with Donnie, who looks like this, by the way, and she is very sweet and very caring towards him. But, in actuality, she has an aggressive temper, a sadistic nature, and can be easily annoyed. Oftentimes, she'll generate a demonic purple aura that would scare the other club members. It is bizarre for someone like Mia, who want to be someone with Donnie, as the characters in the show pointed out themselves, but I actually do love this romantic pair, because their love seems believable, even though it's a little lovey-dovey sappy. And she's not treating him like complete shit, unlike that other character pairing from that other one crappy harem anime I hate so much. Lavina. Now for the blue member and center position, Saiko Kuwahara. Physically, she's the largest member of the team, and like Kirina, her skills are about the same, average base. Some wins, some loses. I believe she got a draw at one point. She is also a bit energetic at times and rather spontaneous, or at least she was in the first few episodes of the anime. Kojiro and Kirino would point out that she would quit the club, only to return as if nothing had happened for various reasons. Hell, she even fled the dojo for about, a couple months, couple weeks because of a cockroach. Saya even has a passion for writing stories and even tries to compose music. Saya is also Kirino's friend since elementary school, and she's mostly at her side throughout the series, like when she tried to help recruit the final member of the team, which we'll get to right now. Satori Azuma, the Green Vanguard, which means she always goes first in the competitions. She made some random cameos here and there in the first half of the series and doesn't become a full-fledged main character until around the 13th episode. Because she had kendo experience in middle school, she is the second best member of the team, only succeeded by Tamaki. However, she didn't join the club at first because she and her parents feared that it would distract her from her studies. See, her grade scores are pretty low, but it's not because she's really stupid. Her weakness is that she forgets to study for the right material for the test, leaves her books at class, the little mistakes with the big consequences behind them. Also, Satori is a klutz and is very naive, which made it easy for Kirino and Saya to trick her into playing kendo. So these are the major characters, or at least some of them, and I personally think this is a great cast right here. All of them get decent enough development, they have arcs, they're fun, they're comical. The characters are the major reason why I love this show so much. I cared for them a whole ton. I wanted Kojiro to keep his job. I wanted Mia to score a win. I wanted Azuma to join the club as much as Kirino and Saya did. I felt really bad for all of them at their lowest point and wanted them to overcome and succeed. When I saw them in the kendo matches, I got really pumped and excited as if I'm rooting for a sports team or rooting for a professional wrestler. They had all these elements that were constructed well for me to show interest in them. I also wanted to point out that there were three major things I learned from Bamboo Blade. I know some things about kendo, its rules, some of the gear and stuff. I don't think I know enough to actually play the sport. I know what a VHD is. And I know what a pangolin is. This show can get kinda educational at times. Well, besides characters, this show is also, like I said, pretty funny with some variety of different jokes and visual gags. Like, when Tamaki debuted, she was able to deflect a couple sports balls, as well as a vice principal who fell out of the second window with a broomstick. And since this is an anime about kendo, there was a good amount of kendo action to it as well. Whether they show sparring matches, the competitions, or just the highlights in general, there was plenty of it that made me said, yep, this is a kendo anime alright. The animation was done by Studio AIC, who I already mentioned before when I was talking about Tenchi, I'm a Goddess, etc, etc. The art style matches the tone of the show, which is bright, colorful, lighthearted. Character designs, though most of them are very cutesy looking, are unique and stand out from one another thanks to the varying physiques, eye shapes, and hair colors. Some of the animation when it comes to the kendo battles themselves are pretty good, but I noticed some recycling here and there. They may not show the entire kendo round, but they will pull up the necessary highlights that matter. Also, because of the protective headgear covering about 2/3 of the face, sometimes they would do a transparent effect or just erase most of the bars to get a clearer look of the character under the gear's face whenever it deemed necessary for them to make a facial expression or whatever. While the female characters in the kendo club scream fan service bait, surprisingly enough there's barely any fan service of this show. Sometimes they'll do a close-up shots of the women's bodies here and there, but that's as far as they'll go. That's it. No swimsuits, no steamy baths, no upskirt shots, nada. I'm surprised and impressed. See, I'm not a guy who's turned off from a lot of fan service, as I mentioned in my High School The Dead review, but I cannot see any reason why somebody would call this show too fan servicey in the least bit. Anyone who is saying that is obviously lying. Now for the sound and music, like I said, Funimation dubbed it, so if you watch a lot of funny dubs, or even some ADV ones, you'll recognize a lot of VAs almost immediately, like Chris Sabat voicing Kenzaburo. Regardless, I thought the dub was pretty good, and I thought the characters' personalities were nailed. I was able to recognize some voice actors. I even recognized Carrie Savage, who voiced Hakafu in the first season of Ikitosen. She voices Azuma in this show, and I'm not surprised. The characters are kind of similar in some ways. Also, there was this one workaround that they had to do. There's a side character that's introduced who's supposed to be an American foreigner, and she ends up being Miya's rival later on in the series. And since this anime already has an English dub and dub with English, translating a character who already speaks English in the first place is always difficult to do. But instead of changing her nationality or anything, they just stuck with street lingo. That's an odd choice, I would say. As for the background music, it's basic stuff with some quirky sounding music at times, or a violin song that plays during the more serious, dramatic moments. But the song I like was an action piece that was in some of the kendo matches. You'll find it in my faves on YouTube. Although I do love the opening song Bamboo Blade and the closing song Star Rise, both sung by the Japanese VAs of the show who voiced the main female characters. Bamboo Beat has a nice, fast-paced action song that fits well with the opening credits and gets me hyped to watch the show. Gets me hyped. While Star Rise is a little more relaxed, but still has a catchy tune as well. So, in conclusion, Bamboo Blade is now one of my top favorite anime of all time. It's got great characters, plenty of kendo action, has comedy, has drama, has heart and soul. I don't know much about kendo, and this is my first kendo themed anime I've ever seen, so I really can't compare it to other shows that probably have similar themes to it. However, regardless, I still give it a very high recommendation to almost anybody, really. This anime taught me to never judge books by covers, that's for sure, and it also provides a good argument as to why most anime should aim for a 26 episode goal by season as opposed to the now common 12 to 13 episodes. If this anime was about 12 to 13 episodes, the characters wouldn't be that fully fleshed out and developed as they were now. For people whose curiosity has been piqued but not completely sure whether or not to spend money and pick this up, it's online on Hulu, both dubbed and subbed. Last time I checked, so you can give it a watch there if you don't mind if you don't mind some of the 60-second ads. I really like this anime so much I'm going to pick up the manga now sometime soon. So that's all I have to say. Coming up next is my Project Echo review. I'm not sure when that's coming out. It might be coming out after Christmas. All I have to do is just take time and watch the movie, and hopefully I can get everything out a little soon. If I can put down playing Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward, my second favorite game on the PS Vita, betray everyone! Darkscreen217 signing out.